What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of We Get to Do This. This episode is number 12. 2 weeks in a row without Kaylee. It's been kind of sad, I know. But she'll be back for episode 13, and she's got some fun podcast guests in the works as well. So you'll get to have a break from listening to my voice all the time, too. Hopefully soon. Anyways, so episode 12, I did a run coaching check-in with a client and I recorded it. So I get asked a lot, what does a run coaching call look like? You know, you hire me, Jacob, with Oak Endurance as your run coach. And one of the benefits of doing that is that you get to have either monthly, weekly, or unlimited calls with me, depending on the level that you are on, right? And sometimes people don't know what that is. And every coach is a little different too. So I decided it'd be kind of fun for people to be a fly on the wall of a coaching call. So I had a client on that you will learn more about in this call. His name is David. And it was a blast having him on and recording him. So if you want to learn about what it's like being on a run coaching call and getting coached by me and seeing a little bit of a glimpse into that, this is a great episode to listen to. Episode 12, run coaching call through the lens with Coach Jacob of Oak Endurance. Enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to the We Get to Do This podcast. My name is Kaylee.
And I'm Jacob.
And we are your co-hosts.
In this show, we're going to dive into all things our lives, from our partnership to romance to entrepreneurship to growing our businesses together, our fitness journeys, and we're going to have a ton of different guests on that relate to what I just said in some way. We're hoping you enjoy the show, and if you do,
please feel free to follow us, leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to your podcasts, and enjoy.
And if you don't like the show, tough. Thank you.
Thanks.
David, what up?
How's it going?
Welcome to your first podcast ever.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's exciting.
It's fun. It's going to be fun to have you on. So I texted you probably about, a month ago now and said, hey, for one of your next run coaching calls, are you cool with me essentially just doing your call and recording it for We Get to Do This? Because I feel as though a lot of listeners and honestly, people who have never had a run coach before, when they hear run coaching and hear that a lot of it is online, they think like, how the hell does that work? What's included in that, right? And one of the biggest aspects of online run coaching is, in my opinion, the virtual meetings we do one-on-one. And, from there, what does that look like? So providing people with the opportunity to be kind of a fly on the wall here, I think will be a good fun thing. So we're going to pretend like we're not even recording a podcast, like I said, and we're just going to jump into run coaching and kind of, see what a typical call would be like. Really quick, not sorry to put you on the spot. At no point do we need to say your last name, like I said, but just so the listeners can kind of understand you, can you just briefly tell me, kind of like we were doing a first phone call ever, your fitness background? How'd you get into running, essentially?
Yeah.
Why do you run? And just a quick little elevator pitch on who you are in the running world, so we can paint a picture for our listeners.
Sure, no problem. I grew up playing some sports, football, tennis, and was really into weightlifting in high school, college, and even post-college for about 10 years. And then had some back troubles, and my weightlifting started to wane a little bit. I wasn't benching, squatting what I used to, which was really frustrating. And so started to dabble in running a little bit and realized that was super fun as well. And kind of when COVID hit was when I really started hitting running hard. Became kind of my outlet to get out, get away from family, work, obligations, things like that, and just get out and escape and enjoy the highs of running. So got rolling, been running. I don't know, however long it's been since COVID, 4 years now, heavy 4 or 5 years. Done a couple marathons, trying to get some stuff figured out to be able to run another marathon here at some point, but have been steadily watching my PRs progress over the last several years of running, and it's been super fun to have a a new passion outside of weightlifting, another, physical passion, physical outlet that's been a fun dream to chase. And at 41 years old now, continuing to PR times, ran, recently one of the fastest miles I've run in my life. I'm probably faster than I was in high school. So that's pretty fun to be 40 plus years old and feel like you're in the best shape of your life.
Yeah. And you work typically 8 to 5 and have 3 kids, married. You have a busy, from my lens, it seems as though you have a pretty busy life and you balance and juggle a lot, right?
Yeah, definitely a busy life on Zoom calls and whatnot like this all day, and then watching the kids at night. And I'm getting up early in the morning usually to get my runs in.
Right. And you mentioned, you just ran your fastest mile. What we're currently working on is it's September 27th. California International Marathon is in 11 weeks. You're doing the half. So we're going to talk specifically about you and the half and your, kind of your journey with that. But do you remember your first half marathon time and where you're at now and what you're trying to do for CAM?
I really don't remember. Probably like 2 hours ish time, like when I first ran a half.
Which is
And
pretty fast for your first half too.
Yeah, not bad for a first go around. I know my first marathon was sub 4, which was fun. Haven't been able to best that yet. I know I've got the fitness to do it, but got to figure out some GI stuff that we're working on. But at the half distance, I think I ran last year like a 140 ish half. Should have looked up these times to verify, but 140-ish half. I feel like I've got the fitness to run closer to like a 135, 130 half if I can figure out some of the stomach and GI issues and
Right.
Just be able to run it as hard as I want to.
Right. 11 weeks. And so we've been working together now we started August 31st. So it's almost been a month since we've been getting you ready for CIM. And how do you feel like the past month has been going in general? Let's talk about, let's kind of shift to run coaching stuff now a little bit here. What do you feel? You came into this past month where you were already running quite a bit. So how do you feel the summer went for you versus now as you're starting to coach and do specific workouts and whatnot? How do you feel like the program in general is going for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's going really good. I've steadily been able to ramp my mileage up from like 10, 20 a week in the summer to close to 40 a week now, or a little over 40 a week now, actually. And the volume's feeling pretty good overall. I've really been pushing for speed in some of my most recent workouts and pushing it pretty hard. And my body's feeling pretty tired at the moment, which I was going to talk through with you today, but makes a lot of sense because if I look over the past week, I ran the group run, part of the group runs, the first CIM group run on Saturday, and ended up doing a little over 14 miles and some speed intervals in there, and what ended up being my third fastest half marathon ever with interval training mixed in. So it was a pretty hard effort. And then I went and also ran a speed workout or a speed interval workout on speed/threshold maybe on Wednesday, and ran like the second and third fastest miles of my life as part of that workout. So looking at the volume, looking just at the difficulty level of some of my runs this week, it's been pretty strenuous, and I get frustrated because I want to mentally do more, and I feel like I should be able to handle the volume. But then like when I look back, and I was actually talking to my wife about it this morning, and she's like, that seems crazy, like what you've done in the past week. Like, it's not surprising your body's tired. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess you're probably right. Like I should be tired after a 14 plus mile run, 40 plus miles in the week, and like 2 very strenuous efforts. So
Yeah. And I didn't mention this part, but you, in addition to the half marathon goal, remember how you said your goal was I want to go to the CIM group runs and hang with the lead pack. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I want to be, you said something along the lines of, I want to just be as fast as I have ever been. Right.
Yeah.
Those are the two main things. I did write them down. I could probably pull, them up exactly, and so for you, we talked about how, during the summer, and we worked together last year too for a while, or a little over a year ago now. And a lot of times we were doing 2 speed workouts a week between Monday and Friday, right? And then on the weekends we would do a long run, and a lot of times I would have you do some type of tempo work in that long run, and it was a lot, right? And it was almost too much. And then over the summer, this past summer, you kind of followed somewhat of a similar trend, if I remember correctly, right? So we talked about how in this specific training block, let's try one very, very hard workout in the middle of the week. And then let's try on the weekends, either a long run or another hard-esque workout, right?
Yeah.
And make those efforts super hard on the speed side to work on getting faster. So like we've been doing, tons of track work. And that's another thing that a lot of times people just aren't used to, right? So that's probably kind of beating you up a lot too in a different way, right?
Yeah, I really enjoy those workouts, but my legs are definitely beat at the end of them.
Right. And what else is interesting too is that I think I texted you this earlier this week, but so it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks now. The first 2 weeks, those workouts are the same workouts. So there were 3 workouts you did, four workouts you did in those first 2 weeks. And we're cycling through them again, right? And what's interesting is you on the 3rd and 4th week now, you have texted me being like, I'm getting through them, but I feel tired, right?
Yeah.
And so in my mind then, and I'd be curious, this is where it's good to, connect and talk about this. In my mind, I'm like, okay, so either those first 2 weeks, you were very fresh, right? You went into them very fresh and they weren't that bad. Or another option is they were actually pretty bad, and we're just kind of getting used to understanding what, hard feels like, and you can describe it as. I don't know. It's, kind of for you to interpret a little bit. And so it'll be kind of interesting now, these next few weeks, essentially, to see as we do these workouts, if we kind of cycle some of them back through again, how does your body feel and react to it, right?
Yeah.
Because right now it sounds like, it's getting pretty tired, and you're also kind of due for a little bit of a down week as well. So, talk to me about recovering for the workouts specifically. What have you been doing? What's been working well? What hasn't been working well? Where can I support you in the recovery side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think taking my easy runs at an easy pace has been key to trying to recover. And I know we kind of tapered back some of the mileage a little bit on the easy runs with introducing long runs, and that has helped a little bit. I'm wondering, like, in my head, I want to go harder. Like, I want to keep going harder, but my body's just like feeling not up to where my mind wants to be. So I've thought about, like, do I need, I'm running 6 days a week right now. Do I need another like rest or cross training day in there versus 6 day a week runs? Like, would that help with more recovery? And then I think the other factor I play too is just diet and trying to get my diet drilled in here. And there's a bunch of stuff to that we're working on, but diet and sleep are super important too, and haven't like gone stellar for me lately with trying some things there.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about diet and sleep first, and then let's talk about the program, because I have ideas for all 3 of them. How much sleep are you getting a night right now?
Well, it's probably 7.5 hours. I
Is
try
it possible?
for 8.5, and I end up getting 7.5, 7.5. think 6.5 last night. Just a lot of tossing and turning and waking time at night.
Right. So 2 follow-up questions to that. 1, is it possible to be in bed longer? Can you try to get more sleep that way? 2, why do you think you're tossing and turning so much at night?
Yeah, I definitely don't have this figured out, but one, like, I think when I do spend more time in bed is when I do more of the tossing and turning. If I'm trying for more sleep than I actually need, I end up getting poor sleep instead. So that's one of the things I've played with a little bit. I think last night was a bit of an anomaly. I was watching the Twins finish blowing their season in extra innings last night. So
They lose again?
they lost last night in 13 innings against a team with 100 losses. So it's just not a good way to wind down for.
We were doing so well. How do we just start? Do we get out of injuries?
At the start of September, we had like a 96% chance of making the playoffs, and now we have a less than 3% chance of making it with 3 games left. So it's a bummer.
Wow. Anyways, back to the sleep.
Yeah, to the sleep. Yeah. So I was watching the extra innings Twins game right before bed last night, which wasn't stellar for sleep.
Right. So schedule wise though, it sounds like you could potentially get into bed earlier, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What time do you usually get up?
I'm usually up at 6. In bed at 9:45, 10. So I'm spending about 8 hours in bed and 7.5 hours actually sleeping, according to my Garmin sleep stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. I think getting above 8 hours is number one, one of the things that you should really focus on. As far as the quality of sleep, there's a few different things you can start to think about. My mind first goes to when your last meal is, number 1.
Yeah, I thought about that and tried to time my meal. I usually eat at 5:30 for dinner, and then not eat anything super heavy in the evening. I'm snacking in the evening usually, but
Okay. And then do you typically watch TV like the Twins game before bed?
Yeah, that's pretty normal. I mean, once I head up to bed at 9:30, I'm reading a book on Kindle or something, and that's how I'm really winding down. But typical evening is TV for an hour after getting the kids down.
Yeah, that's something too you could try to work on a little bit. I mean, but it could be as easy as throwing a pair of blue light blockers on to start.
Yeah.
Before you do that, you can give that a shot. But it sounds like your sleep overall is pretty good. So then the other thing is eating enough. So I know this gets into some of the stuff we've been talking about, but as we kind of work through your diet stuff and test different foods and test different whatever, trying to really focus on getting enough food is going to also be very, very important for you.
Yeah.
So I think we talked a little bit about this earlier in the week, but trying to make sure you eat before every run, immediately after every run, some type of protein and carb. It could literally just be a shake. Then try to get a meal in as well. Then just make sure you get a good lunch and dinner in. And I would recommend at least one more meal in between the two, especially on days that you also lift. So think about that. As far as the actual program goes, and we talked about this, right? I think that from what I'm looking at, I think giving you Thursdays as a day either off, or if you really wanted to, you could do something that day, a walk or something. I think that might be something worth trying.
Okay.
If you're feeling run down from 6 days a week, I don't think you need to run 6 days a week. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think that I think we try 5 days a week and see how your body reacts to it. And you're still going to be getting 35 to 40 miles with how intense 2 of your days are a week right now. I think that's a totally fine thing to do.
Yeah.
I still think trying to get 2 days of strength in would still be beneficial.
Yeah.
And if I were you, I would try to do those on Wednesday and Saturday
Yeah.
if you can, and keep your 2 rest days as chill days. Go for a walk, just chill out.
For sure.
That also gives us the opportunity on those 2 days to have those higher protein days. So I think we should try that. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, like, I don't, like I say, mentally, I want to go harder, but my body's kind of telling me, like, you need to slow down. You need a little more of a break in here, like, for recovery. So I think it makes sense to try that.
All right, I'm going to update that then. More protein day. So your schedule's going to look then. Typically Monday you'll do a longer run of 6 to 8 miles. Tuesday we'll go 4 easy with those strides still. Wednesday will be a dedicated speed day of what we've been doing, probably track related. I'm still going to mix in a threshold run at least once every 2 weeks. Your long run that you do, a lot of times when you come to those, they'll be like threshold runs, so you don't need to do, like, that will be the focus run. Thursday we'll take off. Friday will be 4 easy and strides. Saturday will be either a long run or a longer workout again. And then Sunday we'll take completely off. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
And then you pull up my little questions that I have. As far as the actual workouts go, obviously they've been hard. How are you liking them?
I like the workouts. They've been probably on the slightly too challenging side. I'd also say that, like, when I see pace goals, like, my objective is to always beat them. So, like, especially on, like, on the track workout ones, like, I'm always trying to hit the 200s faster than the pace target. So if I actually listen to the pace target and, like, just tried to hit the pace target versus faster than the pace target, like, that might help.
All right, I'm going to leave a note in here for that as well. Here's one of your big goals for the next few weeks. Don't go above the pace targets. Not only that, they are ranges for a reason. So, for example, next week when we have this tempo workout and then 200s, right? I put in 3.5 miles at 7:11 to 6:47 pace, right? That is a 24-second buffer range. Your true threshold is, from, like, the test we did, is roughly like 7:03, maybe sub 7, right? For what you can hold for lactate threshold, for what you can hold for an hour, typically, right? So the range is there for a reason, right? It gives, one, I want you specifically near that specific spot where you're starting to produce a lot of lactic acid, but I don't want you producing so much where it turns into like a race effort, or your legs start to get too heavy where you can't push through and you're not actually getting the gains you want. And then you actually get more fatigued, right? That's number one. We're trying to just float right below that line, right? Of that lactate threshold line. Okay. In addition to that, the range is there too, because if you go up a hill, your pace is going to change, right? If you're going down a hill, that's probably that 6:47. If you're going up a hill, it's probably that 7:11, right? And I hear you, because I do the same stuff as an athlete too. If I hit a hill, I'm like, if I do this workout, I'm starting at 6:47, and I'm going to try, like, if I'm going above 6:47, like, oh, I'm mentally losing. That's not the case. We need to all work through this. That's not the case. Yeah. You're not even losing if you're below 7:11. That's probably just your body telling you something, right? So try to just be in that pace range. I would urge you to think of like, for this run specifically, since we're using it as an example, don't go below 6:47, period. Do your best. Even if you have to slow down while you're going down a hill, Don't go below 6:47. Okay.
Okay.
And then the 200s, especially, it depends on the workout a little bit. On this workout, the 200s are there simply to get your legs turning over a little faster while they're fatigued. Think about those as like, now you're in a race and you're working on that final push, right? So if I put in, all right, do 6 200s here after you do a 3.5 mile tempo run at 6 to 5:45 pace, and you go run them at 5 flat pace, there is like, in what world or race are you going to finish at a 5 flat pace? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So think about that. I'm purposely practicing. You're probably going to, if you do a hard 5K or if you do even a hard half, that last 20 seconds, if you kick it in, yeah, you might get under 6, right? You're probably not going to get to 5, but you
Right.
might get under 6.
Right.
You probably will get under 6, right? So it gives you that practice of running that faster clip. Okay.
Yeah. Got it.
So yeah, there's one thing that you can also focus on. Stay within those pace ranges. Okay. That could be a big reason why you're feeling fatigued too. And
Yeah.
the long run we did, I think also probably took it out of you a little bit.
That was
too.
pretty hard. And I was trying to keep up with Aaron and Landon, and I did a really hard mile in there, and it was a lot.
Yeah. I get, wanting to run with the lead pack too, but also, I was there, right? And I could have went and ran with Aaron and Landon. I didn't. I felt pretty good this week. So, and that part, that's just ego, right? Just kind of
totally
thinking, where's my body truly at? So,
totally.
I
gotta
think
go
about
easier.
that too.
I gotta go easier on the group run tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay, so I don't think we need to adjust the pace ranges. I think you just need to hit the pace ranges.
Yeah,
and slow it down.
I agree. I mean, I think the other thing is like adjusting for conditions too. Like you mentioned hills, but like when the weather's hot or I got a crappy night of sleep or whatever, like taking that into account and thinking of it more of as an effort than a pace. Because still in my head, like I still like it could be a hot, humid day. I slept bad and I'm going on a hilly route and I still want to hit that top end of the pace range.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think trying to think of it more as the effort and taking into account other factors too and easing up for those.
There you go. There's a nice challenge for you the next couple of weeks. Long run wise this weekend, I'm biking. I think I told you this. So I'm biking for this one. So I'm going to pack mule a little bit. So feel free to bring water or whatnot. And I can hold it if you want, or you can hold it too. I don't think there's a designated workout this week. Kaylee has 4 easy, 4 at sub 8 pace. But that's only 8, obviously. So you could do, you could do that with her and then do your 6. You could, I'm sure that's what Aaron and Landon, actually Landon's not coming. I'm sure that's what the group's probably going to do. And then they're going to probably tack on. I don't know. We'll see who shows up again, but this is going to be all on hills again too, remember. So it'll be a good practice for that. Okay. Any other things that we need to specifically talk about? Any specific questions from your end?
I think we covered it all.
How am I doing as a coach? What do you need more from me? Pretend like this isn't recorded.
I mean, I think you've covered that today too. Like I am always naturally going to push myself too hard. So I think, some people might need like the motivation and to be pushed. And I probably need the opposite, to be told not to go too hard and like when to rest and when to recover is probably more of the help and coaching that I need. But I think we covered that some of that today. But right, cool. I naturally am not going to do that on my own. Like I want to go as hard as I can, as much as my body will allow. And sometimes like my body just tells me, no, thanks. You're 41 years old now. You're not 20 anymore.
But you also, at the beginning of this, talked about how at 41, you're the fastest you've ever been.
Right. Yeah.
So think about that too. Don't downplay being 41 necessarily. But I will say, I wouldn't say you're abnormal. I would say at least 50% of the people I work with, I have to kind of, part of the
Yeah.
reason I think that's why they want to, work with a coach is so that they know exactly what pace ranges to hit. Remember, there's a reason you're hitting those pace ranges. We're specifically working on specific ranges in the body, right? So just remember that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for coming on. If you could, one more question to put you on the spot. You've worked with a coach. This is a little bit, for people who haven't ever worked with a coach. You've worked with a coach. You worked with me for about a year, like 2 years ago, and then you're working with me again now. So you've worked with a coach for quite a while overall. What do you like about having a run coach as someone on your team?
I've just learned a ton. And I've learned a ton that I can apply with or without a coach. I've learned a ton about different running paces, threshold workouts, speed workouts, different type of workouts to do, taking rest weeks, how to lift, when to lift, what sort of muscle groups to focus on. So like what I love about run coaching or having a run coach, or what I've loved about working with you, is how much I've been able to learn and take from the process that I can apply in my routine.
Cool. Thanks for the nice words. And I hope our listeners learned something. I'll post this at some point in the next couple of weeks here on our podcast. And I'll also probably post a couple pictures from the app and the workouts we talked about today too, so people can follow along. But David, thank you for being here so much. I'm going to stop the recording now. It was great. You can hang around though, but I'm going to stop the recording. And for all of our listeners, hope you learned something. Peace out.
Thank you.